Parents of girls with OnlyFans. How did you find out what they do and what was your reaction? Like this video and subscribe to Kaya's Story Times on YouTube. Story 1. My former boss's daughter did OnlyFans. Once it was known at work, he was open about it and even shared the link of her Instagram. Dropped the sauce. There was even a rumor that one of the guys we worked with was one of the guys she used in a video. I guess he wasn't happy, but since it was out in the open, he must have been, F it, at least she'll make money. Free advertising. Story 2. My now 24-year-old daughter decided to get married at 18 and be a stripper. She was very blatant about it and said she liked the money and attention. We live in a small Ohio city where people frequent gentlemen's clubs and talk about everyone's business, so there was no hiding it. We found out about her OnlyFans and other services because she has teenage brothers and parents of friends that frequent those websites and found out. Her brothers have been devastated by the embarrassment of it. While I try to love and support her, it has to be from a distance because socially it's been a very humiliating thing to know that half our county has seen or received services from my daughter, including my husband's uncle who didn't know who she was at the time. I have a hard time looking at men in a good light with this experience and situation of hers. I cried, I blamed myself, I tried to encourage college, I got angry, and now I'm just checked out about it. She's willing to put herself out there for an easy lifestyle and I can't change that. Story 3. My daughter accidentally sent the wrong video to the group chat. I'm a bit disappointed, but I thought she was selling drugs or something terrible because she always had money but no job. I hope it doesn't have any long-term consequences for any future careers she might want, but at least she's making money and no longer mooching off of me. So that's a plus. Story 4. I have a coworker who found out her brother's wife is doing it. The problem is there are pictures of her kids in the background of some of her content. Understandably, the family is pissed. Only fam and fans. Story 5. A cousin of mine did it and when her dad found out, he wasn't mad given it paid for her rent. However, he was very upset when he found out she was also working the pole at a strip club a few days a month. Her only response was, how did he think I paid for the trips I go on? Story 6. I was catching up with a cousin and he told me he just found out his daughter had an OnlyFans and was working at a strip club. He was very upset because he said it ruined strip clubs for him and he couldn't look at the girls the same way and would never enjoy them again. Otherwise, he didn't really care. Story 7. Not the parent but the kid here. I make audio content. It's roleplay where I talk to the listener as if I'm there, instructing them what to do to themselves or me. I started by sending audios to people I was dating and they loved it so much I began selling them. Audio is so much fun because the overhead cost is basically zero. You can do any fantasy or scenario paid for by imagination. Anyways, my mom was incredibly persistent with questions about what I do because she knew I had all this money, but from her view, I never did anything. She was very upset that I had all this free time that I wasn't spending with her. I had my own place and she was certain a man was somehow bankrolling me because I couldn't possibly take care of myself. I guess in truth, many clients are bankrolling me. I tried to deflect the questions, but one day she cornered me and would not let it go. I finally told her that I make audio content. I spend my days writing and recording and editing scripts. That's where my money comes from and that's where my time goes. Everything about me and my life has been predictably opposite of what she raised me to be. And every time she finds out something new about me that she doesn't like, her response is the same. She pretends we never had the conversation and will frequently bring up the alternative fantasy timeline that she lives in. When she sees my pagan jewelry, she will say, I'm so glad you're a good Christian girl. When she met my girlfriend, she said, you're gonna find a good Christian man someday. When I told her about my audio content, she said, I'm so glad you don't have to work anymore and you can spend your time relaxing and doing hobbies. My friends all know, and it doesn't come up outside of regular work talk / venting. Some of them have guest starred in audios out of curiosity. A few have wanted help getting started on their own, but changed their mind when they saw how much work goes into it. Very few people have seen my account or stage name. My parents have never heard of my audios. I work hard to stay anonymous because early on I wasn't careful and had some dangerous encounters with fans who found me. Story 8. I had a Fansly at one point, not anymore. It was mild, just like lingerie pictures. I make feet content. My mom said, since you already have a foot in the game, pun intended, I might as well go all the way and make less mild content. My dad said I should get 10% since my balls contributed to you, and also, I do need a new fishing pole in case you wanted to buy me one. My parents are built different. Story 9. I worked with a girl who showed me what she made in 9 months. $72,000. I personally saw this on her OnlyFans, but she wasn't drop-dead gorgeous either. Average looking with no chin. Her personality was really cool though. All she had on her OnlyFans was professional photos, but she told me she took requests. I don't know what all that entailed or how far she went with requests, as I didn't ask for her details. She was pissed off and said she would never do OnlyFans again because when tax season came, they screwed her over and she owed a few thousand in taxes. I think she said a little more than 4K. And she couldn't pay it because she was broke. That's why she got a regular job to pay for her taxes. I was just like, that makes no sense because all you had to do was put money aside for taxes as you get paid, but whatever. I've heard girls much prettier than her say they don't make crap on OnlyFans, but their personalities were crap. Maybe this one was willing to do things on private videos, the others weren't, I don't know. All I know is she made a nice chunk of money off OnlyFans doing whatever she did. To be fair, this was a few years ago though, during the start of the pandemic. None of this makes any sense because she would be taxed either way at a regular job where she makes 72 grand. Also, how does she go through all 72,000 in 9 months? That just sounds like poor financial decisions. She went on vacations and bought a car. She was only 22 when I met her, and trust me, that's exactly what I told her. I could hardly keep a straight face. I said if you just do OnlyFans for 2 more months, you'll have your taxes paid and then some, which you should put aside when they tax you for those 2 months. But she said no, they'll just screw me over again. Like nobody screwed you over, you screwed yourself over by not planning for taxes. Story 10. Not to parent, and I don't currently have an OnlyFans anymore, but my dad found out because I went to show him something else on my phone and he started swiping through my phone after. Lesson learned for both of us. I hold the phone and he doesn't touch my phone if I show him anything, and I religiously sort all photos into albums so people can only see exactly what I want them to see. He wasn't stoked about it, but it didn't change our relationship at all, and we mostly don't talk about it. Story 11. I used to know a girl from an Islamic household who does OnlyFans, and she concealed it from her family because she thought they would disown her. They would indeed disown her. Story 12. My kid offered a family discount. How kind, you raised them right. Story 13. I did cam modeling in my early 20s, 10 years ago, and although I took all the precautions to block people from my area, once people found out what I did, they were able to work around it. One night, someone leaked a video from a live on Facebook. I was in lingerie, mostly just talking inappropriately. This was before Facebook was as locked down as it is today. And there were several comments made about how, wow, her dad must be so proud, and eventually someone tagged my dad and he commented saying, she's 23, she's served our country, she has a career outside of this extra work she does online, and she's a good person. My daughter is wholly independent and confident, just the way I raised her to be. And let's face it, some of you do much worse for free. Daddy-o shut everyone the F down. My dad has always been my biggest supporter. Story 13. We've made custom videos since 2008, husband and wife. Told my parents a long time ago, dad and mom are totally fine with it. They just can't believe what people will pay for and want to see. My wife's dad wasn't thrilled, obviously, but he's okay with it as long as we don't give him too many details. At this point, we aren't in many videos anymore, but we still produce dozens a month. My grandpa was completely confused when I told him. He was stuttering and like, wait, what? I ended up showing him some pictures and he said, Jesus Christ, I thought you were the good one. I was like, Grandpa, there's a picture on the wall of you in your Navy carrier holding a Playboy magazine right there. His response, that's normal. I had to tell him because he was always asking how work was, and I just don't like lying to anyone. When my son found out, not my wife's biological son, that was awkward and not good at the time. He was 15 and said some really demeaning things about my wife, and we had a talk. Let's just put it that way. Edit, I didn't beat my kid if that's what we're thinking here. It was just a very loud talk/argument that wasn't handled well. He's fine now, he's 26. We talk about it occasionally, about some of the weirder content I'm producing. Story 14. I know 3 people who do OnlyFans content. One is a very attractive Muslim girl who I used to date. After we weren't a thing, she started off lightly with just scantily clad pictures without her face. But people wanted to see her face and see more of her body. She did a few specials and realized that they made her by far the most money, so slowly the content became straight up video content. She kept all of this private from her family because they were very strict Muslims. Her mom found out one day after walking into her room and seeing her laptop open with the OnlyFans earnings. She didn't look around, but she asked what OnlyFans was, and so she told her mom, who told her dad. The next day, she'd been kicked out of her family home. She hasn't spoken to her family in over 3 years, but she's in a happy place and is making bank. Another girl I know that does OnlyFans, I've seen a fair bit of her content as she shares bits on Snapchat to ask for some reassurance. She admitted it to her family after buying them a new car, as theirs was having issues. Her dad won't acknowledge that she does it. Her mom is fairly supportive as long as she stays safe. We were messing around at Christmas in 2019 with talking photos of people in the room and then modifying them with no hair/crazy levels of smoothing, making them look like a baby, making them old. She presses on the back button in the gallery, which takes you back to the tile list. If you press it twice, it takes you back to a tile view with all the photos from the phone. She accidentally pressed it twice and there she is, spread legs with a toy. My reaction was, oh. Her reaction was very quickly closing the app to the home screen. On the bottom right, there's an OnlyFans app. She didn't say anything, instead she just went quiet, sat there and then eventually said she was going to get a drink. I followed my cousin out to the kitchen where we were alone and told her not to worry, it doesn't mean anything to me. Nearly everyone sent or has received them. I couldn't care less and admitted that I've sent and received stuff. I asked her if any of her sisters or parents knew, but she doesn't think they do, but had a close call nearly getting walked in by her sister as she's recording herself on the bed. I was struggling not to laugh because she was so mortified that I had seen. I asked her how much she was making from it, and she'd only been doing it for 6 months but was already making £2,000 a month. No one else in the family knows she does it, and I helped her set up her phone so the photos are hidden by default. Story 16. Not a parent, I'm the kid. I had an ex get out of control and threatened to send the pictures of my work to my dad. I told him before he received a picture of me with something in my mouth. After explaining the whole situation, I joked, in my defense, it was a really good picture of me. My dad is great under pressure, so without missing a beat, he said, if he sends it, I'll be sure to tell him that. Story 16. My sister was gonna start her own platform. She needed someone to film and take photos. She actually asked my mother and myself. My mom was hesitant but willing. I wanted a photographer's percentage. Story 17. My sister, one night, after a few too many drinks, brought up that she was hustling hard and making money off OnlyFans during a family get-together. This was after my dad nagging her about still not having a job over a year past completing her business degree at an Ivy League school, where he paid her tuition in full. She was bragging about making $1,500 a month for barely lifting a finger, not realizing she's basically making less than minimum wage, and considering her stupid spending habits, she was zero saving from it anyway, I'm sure. He was just supremely disappointed. He told her he was embarrassed and ashamed, not because she was revealing herself to creeps online, but because he felt like a failure that he raised someone so lazy and entitled. She's genuinely an intelligent person and she always thrived in school, so she's certainly capable of doing good work. But the friends she picked up in university have definitely negatively influenced her, as they are some of the most undeservingly entitled people I've ever had the displeasure of meeting in my life. One time I was visiting her at her place and her friend/roommate came back from a date and started b-wording about how the guy wouldn't buy a bottle of crystal champagne for her to drink because he was too cheap. On the first effing date. Story 18. My daughter was brought up with the understanding that intercourse work is work. We've always encouraged her to be happy, healthy, and safe. She was pretty upfront with us about setting up her account and able to share achievements with us like reaching top 2%. We've always been supportive, helped her with her taxes, etc. It's a job that pays a hell of a lot better than most of what's out there. We will support her as long as it continues to keep her happy, healthy, and safe. Story 19. I still cannot believe the amount of money that passes through that website. Do people not know there's an endless supply of breasts already on the internet? At what dollar amount of paying for new breasts to look at does the realization hit most that they're actively losing at life? Literally selling bottles of water to the drowning. Story 20. A few of my friends have OnlyFans accounts and they've experienced a wide variety of reactions. Some parents were understandably concerned, others angry and horrified. Some were indifferent and shrugged their shoulders, justifying it with, well, at least she's earning some money and not starving. Wouldn't say any of the parents were supportive, but the one big thing is that they were all relieved that their kid didn't have to travel to potentially dangerous places to service clients. One girl is a teacher, and after about 6 months of teaching, a Snoopy student stumbled upon her OnlyFans account, even though her face isn't shown in any of the pictures/videos, all lingerie and stripteasing. She has a very distinct and visible tattoo that instantly identified her. School admin naturally voiced their concerns and strongly encouraged her, for the sake of her reputation and the schools, since they were getting angry phone calls from parents, to deactivate the account. But by then, the damage was already done to her career. Story 21. My stepdaughter has one. She posted it on her Facebook for all her 1,000 plus family and friends to see. Her dad was humiliated because his whole family can see the previews she posts, but ultimately said it's her life. I'm not allowed to discuss it with him, and he isn't friends with her on Facebook. Story 22. My sister has had an OnlyFans for about a year now. She's really successful and brings in more than enough money to make it worth for her. Our mother knew from day one. Sister in question called her as soon as she set one up, and I believe she downplayed the kind of content she would be posting. I asked my mom to share her thoughts. She said, I'm not allowing myself to really think about it, accept or feel any way about it. I don't want to know about the content. I'm in denial. My other daughter has told me that there's really nothing lewd on there, and I choose to believe her rather than investigate. Do I actually believe her? Probably not. It's not and has not ever been a secret. I think she's posted about it on all her personal social media. Family all knows, family friends know. It's honestly just so bizarre and surreal. Occasionally, our mom will just tell people about it when they ask in conversation what my sister does for a living. I just like to tell people she's a successful influencer, which is also true. Story 23. Well, I suspected when I took the phone that she didn't want to pay for back. As I was clearing it, I saw some of her ads. I asked her and she denied it. Then a month or so later, I saw a People You May Know profile on Instagram. After clicking it, I realized it was our daughter. She has a very distinct Halloween skeleton that I bought her that she liked to dress up and was, using it as a prop. My initial reaction was concern and disappointment, since she has a history of voyeur trauma, but I told her she was an adult and capable of making her own choices. I could see how it conflicted with her, but she felt safe since she was making herself as anonymous as possible. She really doesn't like older men checking her out in person and still doesn't, but figured that she should be able to profit off it online. A lot of mental gymnastics. I talked to her about safety and not meeting with strangers in person and going to therapy so she could continue to work through her issues. Story 25. I talked to my daughters in age-appropriate language as teens about sexual freedom, making safe choices, and had always taught them to respect intercourse workers as people and be non-judgmental. So I wasn't too surprised since there was a wave in my town of people trying to start on OnlyFans. I also wasn't too worried since I was sure it would fizz out, as the amount of work versus the money she told me she was making didn't seem that good. Her dad was disgusted and disappointed. I talked to him about it, being supportive of our daughter regardless, since she's still our kid no matter what. It lasted a few months and she stopped due to relationship issues it caused as well as the pressure of always being on. We felt relieved after that. Story 26. A mom here kind of broke my heart that she chose this way to make some extra money. I found out when she got the W-2 form and looked the name up. She says it's normal and common. Not the way I was raised, but I just told her I want to make sure she's safe and treating herself with respect. Haven't even tried to find her posts. Wouldn't even know how to or do it if I did know. She also worked full-time at a daycare, so did this on the side. Just hope it doesn't affect her negatively, emotionally/professionally, etc. Story 27. I'm 32 female and I had a conversation with my dad recently about OnlyFans. He said if he was female, he wouldn't hesitate to find the right niche and sell his butt, citing some news story he read about a woman who sold her used bathwater for thousands and took a luxury holiday with her boyfriend. I said it seems like it could be easy money if you found your audience, and the main thing putting me off was the idea of actually conversing with people. I got the sense that he would certainly not be ashamed or embarrassed if I decided to make money that way. He's always been one for empowering his daughters. Story 29. I've known 2 people who have had to deal with this. One of my former coworkers found out his oldest daughter was doing OnlyFans, and he basically cut ties with her from what I heard. I think they were the religious type of family, at least him and the wife. So I guess to keep standing with the goody two-shoes crowd, he cut ties with his daughter. Then I had a good buddy who actually dated a stripper and they seemed to have gotten along fine. He was basically as down to earth about it as possible. I think he was one of those dudes that no matter what she did at the club, as long as she was with him and kids when not working on a good family women around them, he took it in stride. So it can go either way. You know, it's just like some women when they realize they're setting on a gold mine and they can make money flaunting it. Hell, they're gonna do it. Beats working maintenance, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. If you have stories of your own, feel free to write them in the comments so I can make a video on them in the future. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you liked it. I'll see you in the next one.